in this category the Ugandan migrant workers and stop mixing them, the Ugandan migrant workers, and more so the category of short-term, the short-term economic migrants. These are people who go and they will return. They work for 2 years, 3 years, they return home. These people should be paid for attention. Why? They are not like immigrants who go and have they seek asylum.
Yes.
Coming back home is not their wish.
Exactly.
They are more in Canada, more in US, in London, but not in Saudi Arabia. So government needs to tailor a program that really suits those short-term economic heroes who leave this country under the push of underpay.
And they bring back money here.
Yes, they leave Uganda because there is no minimum wage, there is no better pay. Under the tag of cheap labor.
You want to chase the investors.
What are you talking about?
That's what Mr. President said.
We are not,
I cannot say that
we are not chasing away the investors, but we are saying, please, the fact is, if you have a big nose, it is a big nose. We must tell you your nose is big.
I'm not abusing you.
Yes, I'm not abusing you. Don't start saying, why are you saying I have a big nose? Your nose is big. Uganda is embracing industrialization because I mean, under the guise of cheap labor tag. There's no way we can attract investors here without cheap labor. We understood that. And that's why the Ugandans who understood that, they just pack up their things and they say, let me go temporarily to Middle East and work. Don't we remain Ugandans? Do we repatriate our money or remit our money to Rwanda?
No.
Or it goes to Burundi?
No, it
comes to Uganda. So Uganda must care about us.
All right.
Developing a soft learning like a welfare programs, which includes the welfare fund, bringing insurance. These are going to give
they sound too good to be true.
Of course, yeah. They are possible, but they are possible only that the capitalists will not allow them pass when they do not have a share.
That brings me to the issue of the remaining 1,000 and more people incarcerated in, and you had started on hinting on it.
Yes.
How best can we deal with this issue so that it's done and dusted, and we no longer have Ugandans who are in various prisons and suffering from diaspora? There is nothing as difficult. I'm imagining like being incarcerated in a foreign country. I think it's something that is wrong. How do we address the remaining people? Well,
there are many avenues government can embrace. And we want to thank them, first of all, for the initiative they took and they mobilized. We tried to give in our members for, on the lists to be piloted for return.
Yes.
But now, one, there cannot be justice without social order. And I've been repeatedly saying this. Justice emanates or arises from social order.
Yes.
There must be a semblance of social and responsibility, commitment, social contract, for people to feel a sense of belonging, responsibility, ownership, accountable, ownership, and all that.
Exactly.
So it arises from social order. So if we want to see the justice for our own in Saudi Arabia, first and foremost, we have to consider the social order element.
Yes,
that what is the order, the governance of those who are living? Is it about clearing them to go through recruitment agencies, and then we say for us we are done? That has been the norm. It's high time we started now recognizing their leadership and embracing, empowering their governance. When they live in a governed manner, maybe they will protect their own their own ambitions.
Exactly.
But they can't protect the ambitions which are just imparted or just forced on them.
Exactly.
You see, that's where they keep relying on asking for help instead of actually sometimes supporting themselves, and yet they have that capacity.
Yes,
for instance, when I'm in Saudi or I'm in any other country and I get a challenge as a migrant worker, I have a right, for as long as I am documented, to walk into police, courts of law and seek the same justice like any other national.
Exactly.
You see what it is here in Uganda. The refugees, the other migrant categories, they're using our authorities, they're using everything.
They're really equal. You
correct.
want to say they're even treated better. Yes. And they also know that.
So this is what we want to empower among the workers, that it will reduce onto these numbers of deportation. Once we realize our capacity, our potentials as migrants, we are going to support government. Actually, our existence as a federation, we are not to come and duplicate or duplicate the works of the ministry. Rather, we are here to supplement onto what government can do and other stakeholders in line, including foreign affairs and other ministries responsible the internal affairs. So what are we saying?
Yes, sir.
That point number one, let government be willing to recognize, empower, and work with the leadership of migrant workers. In this category, the Ugandan migrant workers. You know, these are economic migrants who leave home without any source of income. And by the time they return, they are really in very devastating situations. We are worried as a voice. As I was coming here, I was called by one of our partners who is a traffic, a taxi driver at airport, that I have received another girl who is mentally, you know, she has also been deported, but she's not in good shape. She's not talking, and I'm trying to drive her, trying to connect to see how to get the relatives. So they come back in very devastating situation. She's deported, she has no single coin. Even the sending states have got no alternative in terms of welfare, soft landing. There is no social security, there is no what. So these are the things we really feel that even those deporting states like Saudi Arabia should consider if indeed there is a good relationship. You have an agreement with Uganda. You don't need to just deal with its nationals like as if you've never sat down to agree on anything. Even it's high time for us as a country, you know, to think about negotiating better deals during the bilateral.
How do you commend the government, especially in line of fighting for the people, especially those ones who, for example, the prisoners who had been in prison? 117 of them were sent back. I get that we still have 1,000 more in those particular prisons. First, commend the government on that particular issue. What can we talk about when it comes to that issue in line of government? Yeah,
since you are triggering me to really commend, and I will say,
let's first commend before
I will say send a credit to the minister in charge, the state minister, Honorable Esther Nyakun, Davinia, as she has really played a good position, a good role in fronting this, in rolling the ball. We have seen the senior ministers and all the ministers that have been in labor before have not done that. So she went and tried to, you know, out of the blue to say, please forgive our people. I think she's a good diplomat, though maybe she may not be a professional career diplomat, but she did what diplomacy speaks. You wonder how the embassy officials who lived in Saudi, the ambassadors and all those, what they were doing before this minister went in to say, this is what we are seeking for. You know, she played a good role, but alternatively, she had no option only to do that because of the autocratic nature of the governments that are hosting our own. But ideally, it should be that Saudi, as a hosting state, is supposed to, like you see, when amnesties are given in the UAE here, for them, okay, theirs is a bit relaxed. They are trying to observe the international law. When they give their amnesties, they keep, like, they give a freedom, they give a space, and they say, please come out whether you are undocumented, please correct your status, you know, when you are irregular, please come. You have this window to either get a visa and stay. You know, that means they are considerate of the conditions to which they may deport into these people. Stability. But now, that as it is, you realize that when government is balancing as such, now they remove the authority, UCDA, and the coffee growers and the sellers begin to complain. Because what was promoting or empowering their voice, what was actually promoting their business, was being pushed away or wiped away. So they remain without. And the alternative now
is government.
No, the alternative cannot be government to manage the social issues alone. What government has to do, I think you heard of it, that the cooperatives that were removed some time back,
in 2000,
can be an alternative for now. Yes, they might be revamped. Yeah, you watch the space. Like in Masaka, you've had the people have started now registering those small cooperatives. It is the only way you can galvanize these voices of the poor people who are subject to inequality, and then when they get together, now they begin promoting their interests. But there is an end where they are also limited. For instance, if the presidency intention is to control the raw export of coffee beans and equally to labor export, then there will be limitations. That is to speak to the political will, you know. Limitations in terms of when you are going to like, if you've been selling your coffee quickly with the beans, you can get dollars very fast, but maybe it may be underpaid. But for him, he's creating another section where you must process, make it a different class, and then sell it
at a higher price.
He's very right, but now that alone may not favor the majority.